lama gek. Oh, and you're starting from the beginning of what?
No, second ois.
Second
Ois
line.
base. You see?
Whoever.
The second one is on the.
I think on the next
Page
page. Page
76.
76 in the next
Got it?
page. Yeah. So this shortcut. They say I'm short for the pre. And you have to brief me a little bit.
Mm. It's not. Mm. First of all, Chaim, everyone. It's very special. Today is Chav Hey Elul. It's the birthday of the world. It's the birthday of the world. It's a very special day. So first, let's make l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'rei.
Amen.
I'm just coming from my grandmother's house. It's her birthday.
Wow.
102nd birthday.
Wow.
So 120 minutes.
I mean,
She's able to get around? What's the
very
situation?
much, very lebedik.
Wow.
When she was a little girl, her mother didn't want that her children should go to public school. If they go to the Russian public school, they become communists.
Yep. That's the religion.
So they put on knapsacks and they would walk to the other end of town as if they're walking to school.
So please, we.
And really, they went to their bubby's house. At night, they'd come back home. And then her brother was getting older, and the mother wanted that he should learn Torah. And she had a brother who lived very far away in the Crimea.
That's in Ukraine.
Yesh Emrim, it's Ukraine. Yesh, Mr. Putin says it's Russia.
That's so far away from his border. Crimea is all the way down in the south.
Huh?
No, everything east of the border, Russia.
Right.
It's all the way in the south by the sea, what you call
He
the
claimed that Ukraine belongs.
Huh?
He claimed that Ukraine is Russia.
No, Ukraine is his.
So of course, Crimea is Russia.
that's the vote.
They had a thing called a kolkhoz, which was a Russian-like kibbutz. And these peasants didn't know how to count. They needed a yid that knows how to do, bookkeeping, the accounting. He wanted to keep Shabbos. It was illegal to keep Shabbos in Russia. So he found a far-flung kolkhoz in the Crimea. And the Russian women didn't know how to read and write.
Over there.
Yeah. But they needed, for the government, they needed someone to, everything needed to be documented.
Yeah.
So they took him as an accountant. He was a Moedik Talmud Chochem. Because he was the accountant of the kolkhoz, didn't know when he's doing his work or not doing his work. What difference does it make? I'm keeping your books, I'm not keeping your books.
Yes.
And so he was able to keep Shabbos. And the reason he picked a far place in the Crimea, because if it was in main cities in Russia or anything, the KGB, they come and they check the Jews working on Shabbos. But far away, just the goyim, like, typish the goyim, like, I don't know. They don't begin to know who, what, when, and where. You know what I mean? So he figured they wouldn't know the difference. So Taka, they didn't know the difference, the goyim. And he kept Shabbos. And he was able to be a from a Yid. But he lived far away from where Jews are. He's living in a kolkhoz. But in the meantime, his sister, my great-grandmother, wrote a letter to her brother saying, I have a son. He's already 10 years old. Could you learn with him? He said, sure. Bring your son to me and I'll learn with him. So but you can't, there wasn't a plane ride to go from the city of Gomel to Crimea, which today maybe is only a plane ride of 3 hours. They go with a choo-choo train. So it took a couple of months. In the meantime, I had little children. She had little children. Now they didn't have a house to live in because my great grandfather was taken away by the KGB. They wouldn't admit it that they killed him, but they said he's in jail. But because he was in jail, so the family were parasites. So they don't have a right to live. So they kicked him out of their house. So where should they live? Can't live in the streets, especially in the winter. So they lived in the upstairs of a shul that was not closed down yet. So they lived in the upstairs of the shul on the side, and they took it to Ezes Nashim, and they lived there. They slept on the benches, and they lived. Ah, yeah. The thing is that my great grandmother, wanted her son to learn Torah, so she asked my Bubby to take care of the younger children. And my grandmother was describing at night that she wasn't living in a house. It was dark at night. And the shamash would lock the door, and the winds were howling, and the windows were banging because it was an old shul. And needless to say, the Soviets were not fixing the shul, and it wasn't like the shul could run itself. So the old windows and at night, my grandmother was describing the winds were howling, and it sounded like it was banging on the windows. And she was a young girl. She was 14 years old, and she was taking care of her younger brother for a few months until her mother came back. Do you imagine? Would you live your daughter, 14 years old, to take care of your 7-year-old son for 4 months while you go away? Not in the house. In the attic of a shul. Huh? What do you say? Any one of those KGB guys, any one of those Rishonim, I cannot imagine any of them are still alive. And if anyone lived, none of them have family like this. That's the end. That's the end of the story. You see? She outlived all her tormentors. Unbelievable.
I'll joke about
The kolkhoz, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a kolkhoz, and we had a guy named Rabinovich to immigrate to Eretz Yisrael. So he went to the head of the kolkhoz, and he said that once to immigrate, he's ready to give his dacha to be a group recreation for the kids. He's giving his tractor to as just in case they need a spare tractor, and his home he's going to give to whoever it is who needs. So he said that at the next meeting I'll discuss it with all the kolchozniks. So he said we have two things. Came to the meeting. We have two things to discuss. One thing is we're thinking of raising rabbits because rabbits grow very quickly. We can sell the meat, and we can sell also the hides. And the other thing is about Comrade Rabinovich, because he wants to innovate, and he went through all the things of what he's going to give this and this and this and this. What does everybody say? The guy raised rabbits and says, why do we need to raise rabbits? Let's raise Rabinoviches.
Okay, Ahmed 76. Ois Beis. The truth is, Ois Beis is not so much connected to Ois Aleph. Ois Aleph, we're talking about tshuva, and what's the difference between the feeling of tshuva and the vidui. And so Tzedek said, that the feeling of tshuva kills the neshama of the klipa, and the viduivteshuvapart kills the guf of the klipa. You're going to get very deep into this, like the kishkis of tshuva, al-pi kabbalah v'al-chassidus. To be memal the pegam, there was a pegam. In order to bring back what was lacking because of the pegam of the faith, idea of Shachos ein tzoi baruch hu, Pima Shakosov, understand it. We have to understand the pasuk. Moiche peshoecha. That's what the pasuk says in Yeshaya. Moiche peshoecha. V'yesh lav mashkosov based on anoiche. Why does it say 2 times anoiche? V'inyan yuven al pi agdam al mashkosov beitz chayim. It says in the Eitz Chayim from the Chaim Vital Shakeser Mamutza B'Maitzel and Etzol that between the Eibush, which is the Maitzel, which makes the Atzilus, and the Netzolim, which is Atzilus, there is a Mamutza, which is a crown. V'yesh b'chinas tachtoina shevamatzel, v'yesh yam b'chinas sheirish hanetzolim. It has in it both things. Every good middleman understands both sides very well, because otherwise he can't be a middleman. Everything which is in the middle has from it, from this and from that, and that's how it can glue the two things together. Hainu shakeser nechlik lebeis partzufim. The crown, which we say, which is between the Eibush, which is the Maitzel, and the Netzolim, has 2 sides to it. 2 sides to the coin. Atik yomim v'arich ampim. These are the 2 things, and therefore the Kesser could be a memutza between the Eibush and the world, between the Maitzel and the Netzolim. V'hinei b'chinas atik yomim u'b'chinas tachtona sheba Maitzel. Within the 2, the Atik Yomim is the lowest darge of the Ma'atzel, the Eibishter. And Arich Ampin is the highest level of what is Netzal, what's from the source of the world of Atzilus. Understand it. When we say Oirein Tzoif, the Eibush himself is infinite, and we can't even say that the Eibush has the thing of Chochma, Chesed. It's more than Chochma. You can't characterize it at all. It's like the Maharal said, it's Posha B'Tachlis of Shitus. It's translucent. We can't describe what it is. In order for the Oirein Tzof to later contract and become a chokhmah, become a chesed, where they have a mutzah, through a mutzah. And that's the level of rotzen. Let's stop for a second. Alter Rebbe is going to talk, it's not like he's talking about rotzen and time. So let's talk for a second. Siddur says that there's koiches hanefesh, there's chokhmah, there's midas. Every koich hanefesh, it is something. It has nothing to do with me. It is chokhmah. If I'm not, 2 plus 2 is still 4. Nothing to do with my opinion. Nothing to do with me. Chokhmah is a certain koyach. Midas is something. Malchus is something. What's rotzen? Rotzen is not a thing. Rotzen, Chassidus says, I'm shachas v'atoyas hanefesh. Where I'm drawn to something. What I want. Want is not a quantifiable thing. It's not, 16 ounces of seltzer in a bottle. Chokhmah is quantifiable. It's not 16 ounces of seltzer in a bottle, but still, you can't put 2 plus 2 in a bottle and close it. But still, Chokhmah is a quantifiable thing. It's something. It's a commodity. Rotzen, what's rotzen? Rotzen is what I want. It's a want. It's hamshachas v'atoyas hanefesh. Now, by a human being, just because I want something, I can want it. Doesn't matter if I want it from today to tomorrow, I'm not getting it. Just because I want. But by the Eibishter, if he wants, that's that ki chofetz kol asher chofetz Hashem asa. Kol asher chofetz Hashem asa. If the Eibush is chofetz, the Eibush want, it's going to happen. But we're using the human we're using the human experience to understand the Eibush made that we should be able to see godliness through our flesh. So we understand what want. Want is, it's not a quantifiable thing. It's where we're drawn to it. So there is, before that, there is a quantifiable thing called Chochma, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes. There is the Eibush, there's a Rotzen, that the Eibishter wants, he wants to engage. So that's Rotzen. And it's called Arich Ampin. We'll talk in a minute why it's called Arich Ampin. Arich Ampin means the long faces. Ze'er Ampin means Chiquito faces, the little faces, right? The Midas in Atzilus are called Ze'er Ampin. They're small. Before they come out to fruition, when they're still in the Eibishter's want, they're arichampim, they're barichas, they're juicy, they're big, the potential is very big. Rotzen is the arichampin. Arichampin, that's Rotzen. But there's something deeper than Rotzen. Just like by a human being, what makes me want something or not want something? So the Sefer Yetzirah says, Ein lamayla me oinig ve'ein lamata me nega. Ein lamayla me oinig ve'ein lamata me nega. There's nothing bigger than oinig. There's nothing worse than nega. So what makes me want or not want something? The perception of pleasure or pain. If there's a perception of pleasure, I want it. If there's a perception of pain, keep me away from it. I want to stay far away from it. So the motivator, according to Chassidus, Bepashtus, sometimes is that the deepest koyach hanefesh is tainuk. Tainuk is the deepest koyach hanefesh. It's the deepest of the deepest of the deepest koyach hanefesh. Shmuel, regards from your brother. I'm coming from Bubby's birthday party. So that's Atik Yomin. That's Atik Yomin. Atik Yomin, Alfred is going to say, Tzaddik is going to say, Atik is more Meloshin. Ne'etak. Ne'etak means Nivdal, he's removed. The highest level in the Kesed, the higher level is called Atik, which is the Eibish's Tainug in creating the world. And that motivates a Rotzen in creating the world, which is called Arich Ampik. Let's read inside 5 lines in the bottom. The Eibishter had a Rotzen, but he wants to make Chochma and all the attempts with it. Immediately they were created, not like a human being. If I want, then I have to engage to get it. But the Eibishter, if he wants, automatically it happens. But still, it doesn't come out yet as a separate thing of Chochma and Bina, but it's still in the Eibishter's Rotzen. And then it comes to fruition. Just like the human being, if a person wants to understand something, he's going to understand it. If you want to understand, you're going to understand it. If you're not interested, like they say, Jim, right? Jimmy Garari used to say, if I didn't hear it the first time, I'm not going to hear it the second time. So if a person, the rotzen, when a person, like they say, when a person wants something, he's gonna put himself into it, and it's gonna happen. But what is within the rotzen? So the rotzen makes that the 10 koichos should come out. But what motivates the rotzen? That's through the oinig which is in the rotzen. Bechinas Tainugel, and Atik Yomim is the Avish's pleasure. Shashua Melech Batzmutza. Bechinas Tachtoina Shavamatzel, that's considered Tachtoina Shavamatzel. Shena Dain Sherish Lusavas and Netzolim. There's no Netzolim yet. And it's not even a source to create Netzolim. Because when I say pleasure, pleasure is a me, even though sometimes pleasure comes from something in the outside. But the etzem inyan of pleasure is about me. Rotzen, I want means I want to engage to the world around me. So pleasure is me. Rotzen is about the outside of me. So the higher level of the kesed is called atik. He's much higher than what's called the Yomim Elohim. Atzilus is called the Yomim Elohim. The Zohar says the pasuk doesn't say bisheshes. Sheshem also Hashem Shemaim Esaretz. Not in 6 days. Through Sheshes Yomim, which is the 6 Svidas the Eibush Tekemei created Shemaim Esaretz. Sunday mostly it shined Midas HaChesed, and Monday mainly it shined Midas HaGvura, and Tuesday it shined Midas HaTiferes. So Netak miyomim loin means higher than yomim loin, much higher than Atzilus. Shemokar elam mishkasel sheshemos hashemem mishraim esaretz. But not fish sheshes. Mikomak mistalash man org b'chinas arachampim. But there's a little bit of a shine of atik that goes into arich. Lis masanik veroitzav esavas hamadaviyah that he wants, just like by a person. Why does he want? Because there's a perception of pleasure. And that's the name of sherish and etzalim. So Peter Shani b'milik atik. There's a second shot in the word atik. Meloshin matik, hataka. Hataka means to copy. Meloshin matik mesefer lesefer. He's copying from one book to another book. Shrehu b'chinas amshochet varma, that he's bringing something from here to there. Behind b'chinas ma'oban the atik yomim. In atik yomim we say there is 2 levels. There is the man, the ban, the pnimis v'chitzoni shaboy of atik. From the lower level arich, we later get Abba Ve'ema, which is Chochma Bina, Zava Nukva, which is Nidis Malchus. When later before Gam Kam Shikar Esak Mitzvas Shehem Yamach Yevarim the Malka. When we say that there is 248 mitzvahs, these are the 2 Zoyser matters. What does it mean? Lahamshech haoras ein tzoif, to bring down the light of the Ein Sof Eidei HaKeser, v'zo, to bring down the Ein Sof into the world of Zoh, into the small faces, from the big faces to the small faces. But when a Yid does a sin, the light dissipates, it jumps back to original source. Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Nerkev Shem Avaya, he made a hole in Yud Kei Vav Kei, so the blood leaks out and the energy goes to Klippa. The Aveda does the opposite of the mitzvah. The mitzvah means that a person draws down an unbelievable energy from Ein Sof into the world. That's why they call it Ramache Varim the Malka. Just like the Gashmias. Even if a person has a soul, they can't see unless they have physical eyes that are functioning. And they can't hear unless they have physical eardrums that are functioning. So but the hearing is not a physical thing, it's also a spiritual thing. So when the person has a physical eardrum that's Baruch Hashem functioning good, and he has eyes that are Baruch Hashem functioning good, that draws the koyach hanefesh that allows the seeing and the hearing. So when a Yid does the 248 mitzvahs, that draws down the 248 powers of Oid Ein Sof to come into the Kalim of Atzilus. When a Yid does Aveda, so the light does not get drawn in. The opposite, whatever light is there gets spilled out into Klip. What's the tikkun? To bring down a new light from these 2 sides of the coin of Kesed. מבחינת מקיף וסובב ולאצילוס, והמקיף מסמא עיני חיציינו. ולא יוכל לקבל עוד יניקה על כפונים דרך הפגם. חס ושלום. Let's stop for a second. First simple English. What does it mean, makif mesame eine chitzayin? Makif mesame eine chitzayin. What does it mean? Simple English, that the strong light which is awesome and surrounds, blinds the external powers. What does that mean? Just like the Gashmias, a person would look at the strong light, a person looks at the sun, they could damage their eyes. That's why people wear sunglasses, right? It doesn't damage the eyes. Why? Because the light is too strong, and the eye can't take such a strong light. And instead of taking in and enjoying the light, because it's so strong, it ruins the eye. When there's a strong level of kedusha that's overwhelming, the klipa falls apart. They become blind, just like physically. If a person went out and the sun is shining, and a person looks strong at the sun, they can become blind from that. When the klipa gets a strong level of kedusha shining on it, it just gets blind.
It's what?
They get blind. They become blind. That's the pshat. The makif mesame eine chitzayim. The makif mesame eine chitzayim makes that the chitzayim become blind. They become blind. So, when a Yid does tshuva, there's two things that happen. And we'll talk how, but he stimulates, he goes up, but the tshuva has a koyach to go up to the level of atik and arich, atik yamin, and arich ampin, and through bringing down a new light from atik yamin, the klippas become blind, they die. It kills the klippas, they can't live. When such a big level of kedusha comes down, they can't keep on living. Impossible. They can't. They die. But if a person missed out mitzvahs, so the light is still missing. So the klippa died, but the light is missing. So for that, from Arich Ampin, he brings down a new awesome light that not only from today onwards there'll be, but also retroactively fills up everything that's missing. The Tzemach Tzedek gives a mashal for this. We'll learn it inside in a second. That what happens, that the river get dry. They need water. What do? You got to dig. You got to dig. You saw this morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I see someone in Beis Menachem Mendel opened up a page. He's collecting money for the building campaign. So he writes a message. Dear friends, please give generously. Dig deep in your pocket. If it didn't hurt, you didn't dig deep enough. Not bad. I'm not sure how many people are going to give from this very flowery message.
Not a good pitch.
Dig deep. If it doesn't hurt, you didn't dig. So you got to dig. You don't find water, dig. Keep on digging until you find the water. So here, a Yid was missed out on certain opportunities and mitzvahs. So now the light didn't come into the oilamus, starting from the matzilus. It's not there. It's not, the money is not in the bank account. What do? Make a huge deposit. Make a huge deposit. A big deposit in the bank account. From Arich Ampim. And Arich Ampim is the source of all the oilamus. So from there you can make a huge deposit. Bringing fresh water.
Without doing mitzvahs.
That's from Tshuva. Tshuva has the koyach to bring a new light from Atik Yomim and Arich Ampim.
Without doing any further mitzvahs.
Well, going forward, obviously, yes.
Yeah, so mitzvahs.
Obviously.
But that fills the void, you say.
Yeah, obviously, I'm going forward. I mean, if a person says Echta Boshu, they must speak in the other losses. True. I mean, it doesn't really, it doesn't really work that way. But at least going backwards. Even though again, the Alter Rebbe says it doesn't matter as long as it wasn't that that he did the Aved in order to do tshuva. But the Alter Rebbe says, don't worry. Most people, it doesn't usually happen that way. Just like a river, that's destroyed and is dried. You dig very, very deep. That you want to bring new water. So that's the pshat of tshuva. And that's the secret of the word. Anoichi u'moicha b'shoecha. Base pa'amim anoichi and base partzufe keser, the two levels of keser. One anoichi is keneged atikim, and the other arichampen, and each one does a different thing. One brings down unbelievable light that makes the chitzonim, the external powers, blind. There's such a powerful light that their eyes pop out. And the other is Arich Ampin is a new light that even though the vessels are dry and they're empty, there's no juice, there's no dollars in the bank account, there's no water in the lake, but now you dig, and you have new water there. So I dig.
The digging is the truth.
Yes. This happens. They tshuva. Why? Tshuva, Pirush Zoyar. The word tshuva means in the Zoyar, Toshuv Hey. Toshuv Hey, to return the Hey.
Okay,
So even though it seems like a play of words in the Zoyar, we learned about it last year. We learned a lot of the Yeres HaTshuva. Remember that the Zoyar, the Alter Rebbe makes a big deal out of this. That the Zoyar says tshuva means that there is the hay fell off, and you got to pick it up and screw it back in. Screw back in the hay. Toshuv hay.
The hay is what part of the word? The hay.
Yud hay, vav hay.
Yud hay, vav hay.
You have to return the yud, the hay to the yud, and the hay to the vav.
One was truly law.
One was shuvah law, one was shuvah tata. Very good. Yes, the hay to the yud was shuvah law, and the hay to the vav was shuvah tata. You got to screw the lower hay into the vav, and you got to screw the higher hay into the yud.
And the lower truth was before the Avera.
No, both could be before, both could be after.
The higher one was.
The higher one was this acid beit Isa. She's mamish one with the Eibishter. But Chilu Rechimu is like one with the Eibishter.
When Neshama was created?
That's like more even the Achtus than when the Neshama was created. It's like melts into Eibishter like a cat. But let back into this mind. Over here we're going to learn something a little differently. I say Yeshba Milui Yud. Hey, every word has a milui. When you say Aleph, you can't say Ah. You say Aleph Lamed Pei when you want to write the letter Aleph. If you want to write a letter that has an Aleph in it, it's not a problem. You just put the Aleph. But if you want to say just Aleph, say it's Aleph Lamed Pei. That's called the milui. So when you want to say just Hey, so there's three ways of the milui Hey. Hey could be Hey with an Aleph, Hey Aleph, Hey Yud. These are the three, and there's a lot to do with that. That's why there's a lot happening with the milui. But the milui, the Hey could be in one of three ways. What does the Yud mean? The Hey in general symbolizes Bina. What is a Hey and a Hey? When the milui of the Hey is a Hey, it means that he's rationalizing, he's understanding. A person, for example, understands how beautiful mitzvahs are, and now that he didn't do the mitzvahs, he realizes how terrible it is that he didn't do the mitzvahs. Hey, with the milu Yud is the union of Chochmah, Dveikus and the Eibishter. Chassidus says if a person just thinks about how terrible the sin is, so it can be this sin is very bad, this sin not so bad. But if the tshuva is because he realizes that he disconnected from the Eibishter, every sin is equal. I disconnected. What's the difference? This sin, that sin. I disconnected from the Eibishter. So every one of them hurts me. So that's a pshat that the tshuva is with the hay that's a milu yud. Pirush toshav hay, milu yud sheba, hainu bina sheba nefesh, lizboinu megdulas Hashem v'tifarat Elohim zet tza'aka v'charota b'leiv ha'maisa v'shonim, should be from the depth of the heart. least call chefts of Yish Liskare Velahay, they come back El Hashem, to return to Hashem. Vayuche b'milo hey, yubchinas chochmat alumas chlei. Mekere v'lei amug, from the depth of his heart, not just from a rational part of him, that he's doing tshuva from the depth of the heart. And basically, so there's the Abba Ve'ema, through the Yud and the Hey and the Yud together is the Abba Ve'ema. You do a the Abba Ve'ema b'chinas Ma'ban, that it's a level of Ma'ban. Ma'ban is the idea of Ispashtus and Tzimtzum. Okay, let me stop a second. Let me stop. So it says in Hasidus, based on Kabbalah, that before the Eibishter created anything, there wasn't even the union of Abba ve'ema. There wasn't even Mashpia Makabel. Mashpia Makabel is already, there's two movements. There's Mashpia and there's Makabel. But at that point, there is nothing. There's Eibishter. There's Oid Ein Soik. There's no Mashpia, there's no Makabel. That says, that still, that even on the highest level, there's the idea of a Ma'uban. Ma'uban Shab'atik. Ma'uban means, Ma means the ability to expand, and Ban is the ability to contract. The Yechoilis for Tzimtzum. And that, Kabbalah says, yep, that existed even in Atik Yomin. There's no Mashpia Makabel, there's no Abba Ve'ema. There is Ma'uban, there is. There already exists a concept of expansion and contraction. Ma'uban. So what he's going to say is like this: when a yid does tshuva, but it's also through his bina, because he's not just he contemplated about the gewalt of the Eibishter and the missed opportunities through chatoim. So this he's exercising in his neshama, the man, the hey and the yud, and the neshama comes to the highest place. So also lamaila, it stimulates the ma, the ban, and atik yomim, and there's a new gila of ma and ban, and that does all the tricks of tshuva. That brings down atik and arich. The big level of atik makes that the eyes of the enemies pop out, and that we should see the Gashmias too. And arich means that, whatever was missing, every deficit in the bank, one big knack, the oilam collected $250,000, all of a sudden from the other side comes down another $250,000. Oh, one knack. So that's the aricham. So let's read it inside. And basically said is that these are the two Yesoidis. The Abba Ve'ema, we do the Abba Ve'ema P'chinas Ma'uban. Shoshim Ma'uban, the Atik Yom, the Ma'uban, the Ak. Ha'idei Zeva'odim P'chinas Gal, Sanoiche, Anoiche, Anal. Ma'uban, the Atik Yom, L'takin Kol HaBegam, K'mo Shlo Leil. V'zeh said the Apostle, Mitzvah Zeh Sher Anoiche, Mitzvah Kayoim. This is week's parsha. When the fleisim chavler choyki, can carve a lecha top mode the fit of love kalasoitse. Mitzvah tshuva. Shebchinas anoichi. This week we're talking all about tshuva. This parsha. Anoichi is keser. Mishen keshora mitzvahs nikir mitzvahs havaya. Shebchinas zo. The also understood in mitzvahs is details. But tshuva is an unbelievable thing. It has to do with atik and arich. So the pasuk says chiddush. Lo nifleisim chavler choyki. Chodaike. Kibemes b'chinas atik yemu pela elgen. Shuhu nela machutz ala gamar v'lo yiziyada. Kumakif kenal. V'b'chinas arich rochik matzilis. Kumash kosa marta chakma v'irech choyke mimen. Keila meile dit is abevema hu rochik. Arich abem rochik matzilis. Kumash kosa v'chomarte chakma v'irech choyke shulam meile masaka. V'chein nikra atik yemu shemayim b'chinas makifim. Arich abem nikra meiber ila yam achoch. وفيش مشاخ زي رسالة نتصرف من متسس شباب ونيد ده شباب وده بقى قاش ما يطلع خير ولا همش خير يسأله مطلع ولا كايكن كما يلا ما تصير زي ما الله نفليس من خدايك. So Adam Shorsh Gavoy Moinala Yid comes from the Abish himself. Hak Akwala Kodum Koil Kolishtalshus Bashwachas Nikar Raiva the Koraim Kum Gampkinas Atikam Barakapim Close Abia Kiach Mashkosov Makamacher. Sorry that I read up so many words, chewed it up at once. Let me explain. Pasuk says, "Lo nifleisi mimecho, lo rechoi kohi, lo nifleis." The Alter Rebbe says, "Kikor v'lachadam moed," right? So the Alter Rebbe says, so Tzedek says that really the pasuk is not saying, it's saying mimcho, from a Jew. Really, tshuva is nifleis v'rechoik. Tapela. Pella is the idea of atik yom. Tapela. And it's b'shemayim. And then there is a rechoika. Rechoika means me'ever layam, yam hachokma. It is really. So to bring down a new gili of atik yom arachampim, that's nifleis of rechoika. It's the other end. It's shemayim. It's me'ever layam. It's crazy. But memcha, from a Jew, nothing is impossible for a Jew. So the a mitzvah is really a machlokes is showing what's a mitzvah is. But many showing wants the mitzvah's true. Can mitzvah is showing them that learn in place. It's talking mitzvah's true. So that's what the Tzemach Tzedek is going now with that shita. That the mitzvah is, which is true. Lo nifleisim amchov lo rechoike liba shamayim leimer mi alo lo na shamayim v'lo me'ever layami mi alo lo me'ever layami kechav. No, because for really it is for the angels from the Tzolim Malyonim. It's nefleis, it's machoike, it's mishamayim, it's me'ever layam. But a lecha for a Jew, mimcha, from a Yid, which a Yid's nekama comes from the highest level, even higher than Atik v'Arich put together, a Yid could do tshuva. That's why when a Yid does tshuva, it stimulates the Atik and the Arich. And again, when the Atik is begilui, the eyes of the Chitzonim, they pop out and they die. And then whatever is missing in the bank account gets a big whoosh and it gets all filled up to the top. Let's read it quickly to the end. That's why Yid could be mamshach beneko, easy. It's a different level. As the mulam shaft khanazov shavs khanazov shavs gufas and slow shavs tackle the pochen shachris atika malach then it's a shne shlechuyas. One angel doesn't do two shlichus because everything is a different thing. Of which khanas brought. Lodem shoshim oira klolia now to mashkasa beinaz od lashar hamlis but opkhanas shtalshuf. Kenit no by kol mitzvah says all the mitzvahs. Malach can only do this or that. The Yid can do all the mitzvahs. Ken Omar gabi a Yid we said lo nifleisim mcha. For a Yid, we say kikorav adover ma'oid lamshicham. V'dai, lamev. V'dav zan amev for it. He said it's also easy. A bissel darf man sein amev. A fein schmecker. A little darf man sein amev. How much of a maven do you have to be? If you were here tonight, that means you're a maven. If you're here tonight, to learn this Tzemach Tzedek, as we're going into Shabbos Nitzovim, or we're going into the new year, to Rosh Hashanah, to Makabel or Chodosh. If you were here tonight, you're enough a maven. So, David shall help him that we should all be in this order. We should feel it, the hay and the yud. We should feel ma'umke the liba, not only a tshuva, the rational tshuva, but a super rational tshuva that touches the oimek halev, and that should stimulate lamaila that a Jew could bring out from atik and from arich, that the eyes of our enemies should pop out.
How do you stimulate the oimek halev? It's like an emotional thing.
Right. It starts from his bonus.
What?
It starts from thinking about the beauty of the mitzvah and the missed opportunity by not doing the mitzvah.
How you develop that emotion.
But then it touches, at some point it touches, it shouldn't stay at the rational thing. It should touch the yud, and then the Eibishter helps that we...
It's not easy.
Not easy.
But it says, it's
how do
you
David help them? In the schus of our doing tshuva, and in the schus of the atik and the arich, that also begashmi is that every Jewish bank account should be flooding over with dollar bills flying out from all the sides. And there's nowhere to put it. And the schus of the atik yoimen masoret tvocher.
This Tanya portion ended with Lamed, no?
Oh yeah. Oh, very nice. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Here, the mom Ben was talking about the Louis of Shankaraya, or
No, I don't think so. I think she's talking about Malban, the pure form of Malban.
I don't think the Louis.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
When you say klipas, you're talking about the kalim that
We're talking the enemies to Kedusha. You know, it's a generic word for the enemies of Kedusha.
I always thought klipa is that you can't see hashgacha prophecy. Hashgacha
The enemies of Kedusha make it we shouldn't be able to see. Shkar for